So of course, we all know that there is something Zelda related in the works for this year. It seems like it's going to be a remake of some sort of classic Zelda game. You know, it could be Ocarina of Time. It could even be Twilight Princess. We don't know yet exactly what specific game it's going to be, but what we do know is that this is the 40th anniversary of Zelda. Obviously, Pokemon Day is literally tomorrow, so that's huge because that is quite literally the biggest media franchise of all time. So Pokemon first, and then I believe after that is when we're going to get that big Zelda announcement. I don't mean on Pokemon Day. It sounds like I'm saying on Pokemon Day. No, I mean like in a couple of months here. And today we're going to break it all down. We even have real teases from Aonuma about the next Zelda game. And we can even judge based on the normal timeline about all the big Zelda announcements that we should be getting about when specifically they should actually announce this new Zelda game or remake. And now Tears of the Kingdom is not that old, so I don't think it's going to be like a brand new big game like that because those games take a long time to develop, as they should because they're fantastic games. Breath of the Wild, Tears of the Kingdom. There are so many people that think that those are the best video games of all time, and I mean, who can blame them, right? Let me know your favorite video game of all time. Do you guys like Breath of the Wild? Do you guys like Tears of the Kingdom? But basically, we have this article right here saying that the Legend of Zelda producer Aonuma has suggested that the next entry in the long-running series will be inspired by Koei Tecmo's Hyrule Warriors Age of Imprisonment. And again, he's just teasing that the team has gained inspiration from that game for a Switch 2 spin-off title. So this is where it gets tricky because we had a bunch of leaks and rumors that I've covered a couple days ago or like last week about how it's probably going to be a remake, not a brand new game, not a new spin-off, because this sounds like it might be a new spin-off, but it could also just be like a spin-off of one of the original games, one of the older games, you know, let's just say Twilight Princess, Ocarina of Time. Like, rather than having just a straight up remake or remaster of those games, maybe they're going to use that game as the inspiration for a brand new spin-off of that same storyline, of that same game, or just like a following the events of that. Because truth be told, we don't know exactly what their plans are. Just because people say stuff doesn't mean they're gonna 100% come true. Although the sources that did come out to say that have gotten a lot of things right. So I do think that they're spot on with there being a Zelda game this year, or at least announced this year. But as far as if it's a remake, a remaster, a spin-off, big name title, I don't really know what to think about that. Still, the inspiration we gained from collaborating with Koei Tecmo like this may be reflected in the next Zelda we create. As you play Hyrule Warriors Age of Imprisonment, we hope you'll imagine those possibilities and look forward to our Zelda. Basically, it depicts the events that lead up to Tears of the Kingdom and the previous game, Age of Calamity, and it also does the same by telling the story of Breath of the Wild's history as a prequel. I could totally see them doing something like this for another Zelda big title. Before we get to some of the other information, here's some good news about this specifically. It seems like they are motivated to try some new stuff, make Zelda games that are unique, and either retell the events of a story or give you some backstory, some history before another, like I said, another big Zelda game that we have had in the past. It seems like they're just motivated to make a good Zelda game, which is always good news because Zelda's a very popular title, one of the most popular IPs that they own, and basically some of the best games from Nintendo as a whole, right? So obviously they're not going to want to mess that run up. They're not going to want to make a poorly built, you know, bad Zelda game. So as far as that next Zelda game, I do think we're in good hands. I do think it's going to be a good game. And we do kind of have some patterns about when they announce the big Zelda games, or if they will even announce something big for the 40th anniversary, because the 35th anniversary, I believe all they did was announce the Game & Watch, and I believe also Skyward Sword HD, so it wasn't like a big announcement for the 35th anniversary, but obviously the biggest anniversaries are like the 10th. So the 10th anniversary, 20th, 30th, and now 40th. I cannot believe Zelda is 40 years old. Guys, it came out in 1986. Especially the fact that Zelda is still huge. People absolutely love Zelda still, which shows that it's a great series, it's a great IP, and they don't want to mess that up. So for the 10th anniversary, this was still back in the day when, you know, these big anniversary, big announcements weren't as big as they are now. So the 10th anniversary, they didn't really do anything that major. They were developing Ocarina of Time, I believe, but like they didn't really make it as like a marketing thing for the 10th anniversary. The fact of the matter is for this, like marketing events for these anniversaries weren't a thing yet. Like once again, for the 50th anniversary, which would be 2001, there wasn't anything major. I believe they recently released Majora's Mask, but they still were releasing multiple games of Zelda. The 25th anniversary was the first big celebration they had in 2011. I believe the big anniversary title was Skyward Sword. You had the free downloadable 4 Swords. They released a book. They also had concerts out, which was kind of crazy. Also, I believe a special edition 3DS drop. They definitely did a lot for the 25th anniversary. Moving on to the 30th anniversary of Twilight Princess HD, Breath of the Wild was heavily showcased. Even though they didn't release it that same year, they released it the following year. And as we all know, that is like the biggest Zelda game, debatably, that they've ever made. And the 35th anniversary, like I said, wasn't all that big either. So low-key, it kind of seems like the big anniversaries for Zelda have honestly kind of been a little bit lackluster. But here's the thing, even in between all that, they still do some big releases and some big games, and they lock in. Like, they seriously do really focus to develop these games to make them very fun and good. It doesn't necessarily matter if they're going to release something for the anniversary or not, as long as we get these good games, get these special edition consoles or whatever, which I hope we get a special edition Zelda console for the Switch too. And now let's talk about the timeline of when they typically do announce these big reveals. They hardly ever announce anything like on the actual birthday of Zelda, which was a couple days ago, February 21st. Ironically, it's a couple days before Pokemon Day, which is very, very funny. It is interesting that they don't seem to really care to announce anything on the actual birthday, which is fine. That's totally fine because they love to drop these big announcements during Nintendo Directs, which makes sense, right? Because Pokemon Day, Pokemon Presents, that's a whole separate thing because Pokemon is so big, it literally has its own thing. So with the Nintendo Directs, that's where they could focus on Mario, Zelda, you know, all the other random IPs and games that they drop. And here's where that good news rolls in about when they should be announcing something big for Zelda. They historically drop and reveal information near the summertime for Zelda. I believe Breath of the Wild was revealed at E3 2016, that is. As we all know, E3 doesn't exist anymore. I do believe if we do get a big Zelda announcement, it most likely will be around June or July. That's what I'm thinking. We also have the big rumors about a 3D Mario game being announced this year and releasing this year. The rumor is that that's going to be announced in March. So honestly, it is possible we could get that Mario 3D game reveal on top of a Zelda reveal. But obviously, they're going to do more Nintendo Directs. They could always do another Direct in, you know, June, July, August, and announce that new big Zelda game, remake, remaster, spin-off, whatever the heck they're going to do, to be released this year. And historically, they don't even have to release the game this year. It could even be next year. But since it's not like a huge title like Breath of the Wild or Tears of the Kingdom, my thoughts are that it will be revealed and released this year in 2026. But let me know your thoughts and theories. But yeah, just to wrap it all up, like in conclusion, seems like they are working on stuff. We've had leaks and rumors about them actually revealing and releasing something this year. And maybe it will be announced March potentially, but it looks like it's probably gonna be more so around the summertime. Make sure to subscribe, turn on the post notifications so you don't miss all Nintendo news, leaks, and updates. And if you are real and watching this far in the video, comment down below, Brad. I'll see you in the next one. Peace.
Some